Waiting for the connection. Hi, everybody. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you.
How are things in Montana?
It's good. Yeah,
Yeah?
we are having a nice early spring so far. It's
Yeah.
getting in the 70s and sunny, but today's rainy and windy, so
Oh,
it's a
wow.
good painting day.
Nice. Good time to
Yeah.
be inside to create. Well, we're going to see your
Yeah.
studio or a little
Yeah.
bit. And for everybody that's joining, thank you for joining to the Thinking of Art call series, something that I started during quarantine, just about 6 weeks ago or so. And I've been featuring artists and interior designers and creatives and people that I really respect and love. And I was really excited to introduce you to James Corwin, who's a wildlife painter. And I mean, he's created some incredible paintings. He's only 28 years old, and he lives in Montana. And I want you guys to hear his story. So with that, I just wanted to start out, with the question, how did you get started?
Yeah. It wasn't planned, that's for sure. I didn't really know I could do art until my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
I took an class and everybody's like thinks, oh, you must have been drawing all your life. I'm like, no, it's not really till I was like 17. But I took the art class and obviously really enjoyed it and started painting. And I got an art scholarship to study art at school. So yeah. So well,
So
I
you were
went
in
to
Montana, or where were you?
Well, I went to Ohio my first year,
Mm-hmm.
and then Ohio was kind of boring, so I transferred back to Montana to be in the mountains.
Sure.
Yeah, because that's where I grew up, was in Montana. Anyway, so the scholarship kept me studying art, so I just continued with it and started selling paintings. And during those 4 years, I was able to kind of set up the business so that when I graduated, I just went into painting full time.
Okay. So you've been doing
Yeah.
that really full time since you graduated college.
Yeah, and it kind of full time since I graduated high school, because that was also my summer job. I'd go around and do the little farmers markets and sell my paintings that were like 3 inches by 3 inches, like really tiny little paintings and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and
That's amazing. I mean, you truly are an artist that has not only followed your passion, but you've had to create, streams of income and,
Right.
develop your client base for these many years. And I have huge respect for that.
Thank
What do you feel like was the pivotal moment when you decided to be a full-time artist and to focus on art full-time?
Yeah, when I started selling pieces, that was definitely an indicator that, this could be something I could do. Obviously, like the pieces I was selling at the time were like $60 a piece, $80, so
Sure.
couldn't live off that full time. But I did know, like when I was 10 years old, that I wanted to work for myself and have my own business and be able to, create my own lifestyle and hours. So the art, provided that kind of lifestyle for me. So that's why I chose to pursue it and develop it.
So why did you
And
choose? Why did you transition
yeah,
to animals? Because you started out more as a landscape painter, right?
right. Yeah. A lot of the artists that I had admired when I was starting painting were landscape artists. And of course, being surrounded by mountains and lakes, I wanted to paint the scenery around me.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until I took a safari in South Africa
Mm.
that really kind of opened my eyes to wildlife and nature on such a obviously more grand scale, and I just really became passionate about wildlife.
Was there a
Also,
particular animal that you connected with during that time?
yeah, the rhino. There was this rhino on safari, and when I was there, it's kind of we were educated on the issues of poaching
Mm-hmm.
and how frequent rhinos are poached in South Africa, even though they have 24-hour security on them at all times. And sadly, this rhino named Roger was poached shortly after we left at the game farm that we were at. And, it obviously really broke my heart. So I wanted to create a painting of Roger from a photo that I took. And I'd really not painted much wildlife. And the painting took, this was like over 5 years ago. Definitely, I think it took a couple months. There's several different rhinos underneath the rhino. You can go through my website and find the painting to see it. But yeah, it was. But I just fell in love with painting wildlife because with wildlife, I'm able to evoke more emotion and tell more of a story than I could with a landscape. And I think people connect with that even more because, there's personality that you can bring out in wildlife, and everybody knows what a rhino is, so it's recognizable. And so, since then, and I can always put an animal in a landscape if I want to anyway. But since then, I've been painting wildlife.
Well, there's one question that came up. Wow, a trip to Africa changed the trajectory of my work also. Happy to hear you found inspiration in that magical place. Thank you, Ben.
I love it. I've been back like 3 times. It's an incredible place.
Yeah, you guys ask any questions as we're having a conversation, and I'll get to them. So how much time does it take you to do each painting? I mean, obviously it varies depending on the size of the painting, but can you talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely does depend on the size, but I mean, a small size can take just as long as a big size. I think it kind of depends on the subject matter and the complexity of the painting. So, for example, I just completed a painting of a herd of elephants, and that one took me like 2 or 3 weeks. And
that's
it was
a matriarch, that painting? Yeah. I popped that one up on my story. You guys can see that. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That's a 3 foot by 4 foot piece, and but I've painted that size many other times, and sometimes that size can only take me 2 or 3 days to paint if it's more simplified.
That's much faster than I thought. And you're an oil painter, so
right. Yeah, I have a process that I've developed with my painting, so I just repeat the process, and I'm able to complete paintings pretty quickly.
So how many hours straight are you painting without, the exception of taking little breaks?
Yeah, usually, my days are usually about 12 hours, but it isn't all painting time. I have employees that help run the business part of it, so I can paint more. But usually painting is about from 9 to 5.
So where do you want to go? Do you have a location in mind that you want to travel to whenever you're able to?
Yeah. Well, back in March, right as Costa Rica was shutting down, I was there, and I was in the jungle for 2 weeks, which was phenomenal. And I'm excited to paint the animals that I photographed there. But I think my next journey is going to take me somewhere in Southeast Asia.
Okay. It's exciting.
Not sure where yet. Maybe all over.
Do you tend to paint? Do you go and just kind of scout out animals, or you just go for inspiration, or do you stay for long periods of time, for a month or so and paint while you're there?
It's so hard for me to try and pack paints and canvases around and then keep them dry because it's hard to pack them around when they're wet. So I just take a camera.
Oil painting, that's true.
Yeah. So I take a camera and I take a bunch of reference photos and pictures with my mind, and then back at the studio, I'm able to kind of recreate what I see.
Talk about Out of the Woods. So if you guys saw my story
Yeah.
over the last 24 hours, I posted up some of his new paintings. But Out of the Woods, talk about that one, because that one was a more difficult. Was that a more sought after subject matter with the moose?
Yeah. Right now, it's one of my best-selling pieces as far as prints go, and it's actually an idea that I had for quite a while. I have been kind of envisioning the idea of a moose walking through mist and aspen trees, and I've put together several references in the past, but finally, I don't know, you just get those that burst of inspiration, that moment when, yes, this is right, this is what it's gonna be, and then I paint it, and like that one probably took like, I don't know, 3 days to paint or something. I just work on one painting at a time.
Okay.
So all my focus and energy and time goes into one painting, and I feel like I can get more done quickly that way. And that way also my focus isn't and inspiration isn't scattered among multiple pieces.
Makes sense. How do you decide which paintings to make prints of? Because you don't do prints of all your paintings.
I post the paintings and kind of gauge the interest. I kind of know, like, when a painting's done, if it's going to be a good seller or not. But also, I'll gauge the interest and stuff. Sometimes I get it wrong, and prints of it don't sell too well, and other times I'll have a painting that I don't think I should do prints of, and a bunch of people ask for prints. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
Then you go ahead and do it and release them.
Yeah.
So I know that you don't carry that high of an inventory, and
Right.
You're really generous and willing to work with me to kind of help promote this series, or the new series of paintings that you've come out with. So those are on the Kipton site. If you go kipton.com/shop, you can see like 4 of the new paintings. But talk about the Running Wild painting, because I know we have some horse enthusiasts that are on this call. We're going to be watching this call later. So talk about that painting.
Oh my gosh, that was quite an endeavor. I would say that's years worth in the making, that painting, because that was the first time I've painted horses, and maybe painted them successfully.
Yeah.
Because I've wanted horses for quite some time, and uncle to get, like, if any sort of the proportions are off, it's too obvious. And
are they more difficult? What would you say is the most difficult animal for you to paint?
Well, a horse. That's why I just avoid them.
Okay. What is it about it?
Bears are the easiest.
Is it the proportion? Like, what is it about it that makes it more difficult?
Yeah, all the muscles, because they have like no fur, really, or anything to like hide all the definition, and they have such interesting proportions, with their heads and necks and long legs, and so yeah, it makes it challenging.
That's good to know. That's great to know.
Whereas like painting a bear is so easy because it's just like a big blob of fur with a cute face.
Well, I grew up on cattle ranches with horses from the time I was, I don't know, 5 years old. And I love horses so much. So that brought back, just looking at that painting, brought back a lot of memories. And so my first horse and the horses that we had growing up. Sure. Can you walk us around your studio a little bit? And then I want you guys to ask more questions. Somebody just gave you a compliment. You did an amazing job on this one.
Oh, hey. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I was really happy with that, because believe it or not, there's been quite a few horse paintings that sadly have ended up in the trash. So
yeah. Well,
I only show people the good ones, right?
No, that was beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah.
So walk us around and give us an idea of what you're working on right now.
Okay, let's see. Flip my screen around. So my studio's like a little mini jungle. This is a print that I have going out to a client. It's embellished.
Beautiful.
But I have three chameleons. They're very colorful, and so they keep me company.
Wow,
Plus
gorgeous.
my little singing birdie, which you probably heard him earlier.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
He doesn't like when I talk to other people on the phone.
He's possessive.
Yeah. So this is
Oh my
what's
God, that's
currently on the
gorgeous.
easel. Thank you. Yeah, this is a 36 by 36, I think.
Can you get up closer to that one so we can see the detail? Oh, wow,
Yeah.
James, that's gorgeous.
Thank you. So today is working on the nose and down in the chin and getting all the little hairs in.
That's gorgeous.
That you can see, all the detail.
And the eye.
I know.
Eye
I
is
love the eye.
Wow, it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Is that based on a photo that you did take?
No, this is a composite of photos I put together to make this idea. So a lot of sometimes I'll have paintings or photos that translate well into paintings, but most of the time I will conceive of an idea and then use a whole bunch of photos to recreate what I see.
That's cool. Beautiful.
And then my palette, I never clean my palette because I think of it as a roadmap. So you can just see piles of paint that have built up over time.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. That's a beautiful piece of art right there.
Yeah, I know, it's colorful.
It's really pretty.
So like my process for this one, for example, is I draw it out and then I do the underpainting, which is basically just kind of layering down just a wash of the colors and kind of just basic getting down the colors of where I see them. You can see that mostly in the butterfly. So there's like no details, just the colors.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go over with the first layer of detail, and that's the hair in here. Beautiful. And then I start going over with the final layer of detail, which is like what I'm doing here, which is putting in like all the little white hairs and stuff.
So how much time does it take to dry between each layer?
So I use solvent here to kind of thin out the oil paint that I use, and that helps speed the drying process. So usually I'll come back the next day and it will be dry enough to continue painting over.
Okay. Gorgeous.
Yeah. So that's another reason I can get paintings done fast, is I don't have to wait for them to dry for weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's nice too because I can get it framed and sent out to the galleries. Because right now I have like 25 galleries. So.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, guys. Like the 4 paintings that are on the site right now on Kipton, on kipton.com/shop, those are direct, so that if anybody's interested in those aren't consigned with galleries right now. So a special opportunity to see those, because I know that your work sells really quickly, and you're exhibiting not only in different galleries, but you're also exhibiting like in the Venetian in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, you have some major places where people do see your work or may have seen your work. In Vegas, for example.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's fun to go there and take a trip, or anytime friends and family go there, they always visit the gallery, and it's kind of cool.
What else? Are you working on anything else we can see?
Yeah, so I have a second studio, which is next door.
Okay.
Go to that one.
Okay. I give you guys
that's
an
where
inside
all
look.
the paintings, a lot of the paintings start in here and finish in here. So like,
there's
here's the matriarch that's
that's beautiful
in here, and it's drying.
Can you get close to that one so we can see it a little closer?
Definitely. So you can see
Stunning.
the detail.
Look at the eyes. The eyes are so
I know this one
emotional.
took me so long.
So much soul there.
All the trunks took like a day just to do a trunk.
Wow. Where did you see them? Was that
Yeah,
in
so I
Africa?
worked in South Africa at a game farm, and there was a herd of elephants that I got to feed every day for 2 weeks, and
Mm.
so this was inspired from that herd. They looked just like this, it was a herd of all ages, and they would come running up to the vehicle when it was time to feed, and
Oh,
yeah, it was so cool.
so nice.
And here's a painting of Telluride that's been blocked in. So you can see all the underpainting. It's all blocked in, and I'm at some point then I
Great
have
colors.
to take it and what's that?
Great colors. Beautiful. Oh, it reminds
Yeah.
me of growing up skiing or going skiing. I love to ski, snow ski. So.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a gallery in Telluride, and it's somewhere like right in here or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this will obviously go to the gallery
Gorgeous.
there. Yeah. And then this is a commission I just finished up this week on Monday of little piping plovers. So this one's drying, and then it will go out.
What are those?
Next
What kind of birds are those?
They're little piping plovers, so these are babies.
Cute.
Yeah.
Very
And
cute.
this goes out to a client on Long Island.
Nice.
I also have a house out on Long Island, a studio, and so I see all these little guys running out on the beach by the house.
What's right behind it?
Oh yeah, so this is a painting in the works that it's one of those paintings that was a good idea, but then I don't know where to take it, so I just kind of let it sit until I figure out what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it's a bear
It's
and
cool.
some sort of like glacial mountain thing behind it that I made up. But yeah, so yeah, eventually, and then of course there's a tiger behind here,
Oh,
and
wow, James.
this is one I'm gonna send, I think, to the Venetian. So I'm gonna cover the back with 24 karat gold, and then of course detail the tiger.
That's really nice for all the Tiger King lovers.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
Perfect timing.
I know.
I didn't even finish it. Did you watch it?
I've only seen 2 episodes, so
Same for me.
I need to finish it too.
I stopped after 2. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll watch it later, but I got into the morning show and some other ones.
Yeah. For sure.
So talk about like that. How do you balance your personal life and your painting career? That must that's a lot to juggle.
It's always been a struggle. Like I'm getting a lot better though, but it's challenging because when I'm not painting and my studio is in my home, I feel like I should always be painting, and I get guilty when I'm like watching Netflix or something.
I get that.
Because,
I understand that. I think that's because we work for ourselves, so it's like we feel guilty if we're not being productive all the time. I'm in the same way. I think it's almost worse being quarantined because I'm like, well, if I'm wasting time watching something, then I'm not being creative, or I'm not like taking advantage of this time. So I feel like I'm working all the time. But so what are you doing? What what advice can you give somebody right now that you're doing that's really helped you mentally, emotionally, spiritually to like get through this time?
Yeah, for sure. I guess traveling really helps. So Costa Rica was great that I got there in time and also out in time.
Yeah.
But right now I'm working on this big landscaping project at my house, and just basically turning the entire backyard into this big oasis, and with gardens and
Nice.
arbors and ponds. And so whenever it's nice and sunny outside, I like to go out there and work on it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So do you think you'll maybe go back and do some landscape paintings? Or if somebody wanted to commission you to do a landscape, would you do it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I still do landscapes. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, maybe paint some flowers that grow there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about? I mean, there's so many exciting aspects to your work. Would you say that you have a favorite painting that you've done over the years? It's like your
Yeah.
most memorable piece?
I would say that would probably be the Roger, the rhino painting, only because it was that pivotal point where I switched to wildlife, and I found that I could paint wildlife a lot better than I could paint landscapes. Like, I look back at my landscapes and I think they're pretty bad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, I'm definitely better at doing the animals. So
No, you have such a huge gift. Whenever I saw your work online and then I reached out to you and started talking to you, I was blown away by your
you.
technique and how you captured the emotions of the animals so well and kind of their spirits. I think that's such a gift for you're able to do that. If somebody says, okay, I have I have a pet and I want that specific pet painted, can you do it by photograph, or do you need to actually interact with the pet or see a video of the pet, or like what inspiration do you get to kind of pull that emotion through from the canvas?
For sure. I can take the photo and basically just create it exactly as it is, right? But in a way, it's kind of like what animators do. There's enough nuances in the face and the eyes of all animals that you can kind of change the brow or change anything about the face to give it more emotion if it doesn't have it in the picture already.
Okay.
So, so I can easily tweak something to make it look, more happy or more sad or more inquisitive. So yeah, so it really comes a lot down to the eyes for sure.
What advice would you give any artists that are watching the call? Advice on how to get started and how to stay, consistent and persistent in being having a career in the art world.
For sure. Yeah. It's, it's definitely not easy at first, but it does get easier with time. The biggest, hurdle that you would have to make is staying consistent and putting in the time. But, I encourage anybody who is interested in pursuing a career in art full time to definitely do it, because it's wonderful and it can be very lucrative, and you can definitely, achieve the goals that you set forth, but it does take time. And I kind of took the business of selling my art upon myself, and it wasn't until much later in my career that I got into galleries. So I always think, that helped me get ahead faster, because I knew how to sell my art and I wasn't relying on the gallery. Yeah.
Well, that's a really good point, because I work with artists. I've worked with artists for a long time. And now, because of Instagram and because of social media, artists can really promote themselves very, very easily. However, you don't have the credibility per se of a gallery signing off on you. So, but you understand that side, the business side and the hustle side, and also nurturing client relationships is such a huge part of your business. But also, when galleries or advisors like myself work with artists, it's much easier to work with an artist. It's very easy to work with and has similar energy with just, being easy to work to. There's some artists out there that have a lot of, a big ego, and they're more difficult to work with. So I kind of steer away from those if possible.
Yeah, no, totally makes sense.
So what else are you working on right now that you have kind of in the pipeline that you can share with us?
I think most of them are in here in this room. And then as far as ideas in my mind, I'm regret to say I don't really have anything at the moment.
Okay.
And that's got to be.
I'm gonna work on some ideas for you and send them to you because I have some client projects out here in LA. We have a question. Do you recommend content in galleries when first getting started?
I mean, sure, it always helps having your work in galleries because it's being seen by people and has opportunity to sell. But like I was saying, I wouldn't become reliable on galleries because you never know when that work is going to sell. Mm-hmm. So if you can hold on to your pieces and try and sell them yourself first, you get a much better idea of how to sell your work, the kind of work that people are buying from you, and your price points and everything, so that when you go to a gallery, you would know exactly what to give them and what, like how to sell your work to a gallery so that they can sell it. Because a gallery can take on the work, but without knowing much about your work. But if, you can give that information to them, it helps the gallery sell your work.
Totally, because galleries obviously want to exhibit, but they have to sell the work, so they have to figure out if they have the client base to really that is going to buy the work. So, but to your point, even if you sign with the gallery, you're going to have to wait until they put on an exhibition for you. They may have other artists ahead of you, so it may take time. So, to your point, exhibiting or finding other ways like you've done is really inspirational to other artists out there.
Definitely.
Well, with that, I feel like we try to keep these calls to 30 minutes, but I just wanted to kind of recap real quickly. There's 4 paintings on the Kipton.com site right now, Kipton.com/shop, and they're Out of the Woods, Running Wild, The Matriarch, and Royal Majesty. So take a look at those paintings. If you have questions, reach out and we can answer those. But you have prints, so they're all price points. So those paintings are a little bit more expensive, but you also have prints as well that are more affordable. So for people out there that love your work, there's also that option. So I just wanted to give you that shout out. So
sure.
Yeah. So with that, you have anything else you want to share before we end the call?
Oh yeah, actually, I have art business courses that I created, and actually have a new one I'm going to create too. But just for any artists, for artists that want to get more information on how to start, grow, and sell their art. And those are available on Udemy and Skillshare. I think if you just type James Corwin art business course, it should come up. But definitely I go in much more depth and cover over 60 topics, so 60 videos. Oh my God,
you didn't tell me that. That's amazing. I want to check them out too.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today. And
thank you.
We're all big fans of your work, and
thank you.
I'm excited to work with you more and come to Montana and see you. Or when you're out in LA, you can see me here too. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'd love to go to LA.
Yeah, we have to get some more clients for you out here. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining. This will go on my feed for the next 24 hours, and then it'll go to my IGTV if you want to watch it at a later time. So thank you, James, so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day over there.
You too.
I'll talk to you soon. I'll talk to you later.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, bye everybody.